We have a special guest here with us today, and we're super excited about it. A little nervous. We've got Jeremy Boyer. Is it Boyer or Booyer? Help me.
Depends on where you're at.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay, so we're both virtually from Potosi, so we get that. That's why I was like, you got to let me know, because it's got to come from your mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's Booyer and Potosi, and I just Boyer. It doesn't make me a big difference.
Really,
Petrangelo, Peter Angelo,
like either
whatever.
way, as long as they're talking about me, right?
Yeah.
So you are the organist for the blues as well as many other things. Let's just start with, how did you get into that? Where does that start for you?
Playing organ, or for like sports, or
yeah, more for sports.
Well, I grew up playing sports. I played like 4 sports a year. When I was younger, I played like football, basketball, ran track, did baseball in the summer, or I wrestled later on in high school instead of basketball. So I always had a love of sports to begin with. And then I had that love of music, and I was in like every music class I could get into, choir, band. So eventually I enjoyed playing the organ and got good enough at it that I could kind of do some stuff with it. And it was just a natural fit. I was watching games. I was listening to like Ernie Hayes play at Cardinals and Blues games, and that inspired me, and I would kind of play along at home or try to figure out what he was playing on TV or radio as I was sitting at home. And then, it was really, I guess, I played in like pep band in high school, but really it was in college at SEMO, shout out to my alma mater, where, I was in the show band for basketball, and I got to know some people, and I reached out to the baseball coach, and I was like, hey man, would you be interested in letting me just give this a shot? And he's like, yeah, come on down, let's see how it goes. And it went well, and just kind of went from there. And then, yeah.
See, that's something that I didn't even know you could do. Me and Jesse here, we're, into music, we play. And so if I would have known, I could just like, hey, can I just try some stuff over here? Like I would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's how, you started with the sports. So now, really for me, like I said, we're musicians, so like I'm gonna have a lot of music questions for you.
Yeah.
Is this a situation of where you have like your family has a lot of they play music, there's a lot of music in the house, there's instruments, or is this something more where you kind of like went off on your own and found this passion?
I feel like I've had a musical heritage with family, maybe not to the degree of I was growing up with them playing instruments. My mom played organ prior to me being born at like church. I don't really ever remember her ever playing, like, just sitting around the house playing. But that's how I got acquainted with the organ, because my grandmother had an old organ in her house, and she's like, I don't want this anymore. She knew my mom had played it one time. She gave her the organ. My mom didn't really use it, but it was there. So whenever I started playing in band in school, I was like, hey, what can I do with this? I learned how to read music. I tried to apply that to the organ. But, I did have, like, my grandpa played the fiddle. They're all, my mom and dad were both in choir and band. So they did have a love for music, and they shared that with me. So indirectly, I think, not maybe through playing instruments, but through their love of music, I gained a love of and appreciation for music too. And I just loved it enough that I wanted to hone it into doing performing.
And I think that's something that Potosi in general really breeds is good music, whether it's at your local church or just a group of kids getting together and play music. It's something to do. And the music roots run deep there. You got the history of the French coming in and everything else. Like it's a very cultured little town, which you wouldn't expect a lot out of, but they've definitely produced like good musicians such as yourself, and have gone on to do great things. I know you were inaugurated as what was it, the Potosi High School? I forget what the actual title was, but
Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't like high school at all, so one of those guys. But yeah,
we weren't cool. I was going to ask, so you said you played like pep band. I kind of want your opinion on this. Was there ever a point where you maybe could have gotten into like marching band and stuff like that?
Oh, I was in marching band too. I was a drum major at SEMO for 3 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you were a drum major?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, definitely did marching band as well. I was kind of a different breed because I was like the president of the university choir, which is the top choir at SEMO, but I was also a drum major in the marching band, which was kind of odd because usually it was like instrumental majors, like, you know, who did like, were going into that as their like major, and I was a vocal major, but so I had a little bit of crossover, but I think that rounded me out as a musician too, and especially as an organist because you learn the instrumental side of things through that, but you also learn the vocal side and doing, you know, outside of doing blues and Cardinals, I also work at a church full time. And I'm working with vocalists a lot, or I'm singing myself a lot, and just understanding that side of music, you know, is a good mix too.
So that's something I found surprising was the actual the singing side of things, because everybody's going to look at you and be like, "Oh, he's the organist and he plays the organ." But yeah, I'm not sure if you've checked out your Wikipedia lately, but one of the big prompts is like that you sang for the Pope and everything, and I think that's very cool that you have both sides of the spectrum, because sometimes as musicians we're pigeonholed as the guy that's with the guitar or the keys or whatever. Yep. But if you got it all well rounded, that's awesome, man, and congratulations for that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think that surprises a lot of people, or they catch them off guard. Sometimes I'll post, you know, a video of me playing and singing, or, you know, a church playing and singing, and they're like, "Wow, you can sing?" I'm like, "Actually, I studied voice in college, and I just played the organ for fun."
Just, you know, going with the drum major thing, that's honestly, you just kind of blew my mind with that. So, you know, are you out there playing like quints and all of that stuff?
The drum major is the one who conducts, but I did play in drumline in high school and in college. I played a little bit of snare, but I played most of like the bass line, like in the drum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I'm sorry. When I think drum major, I think like you're going for drums. I didn't realize you're the Okay. Yeah, see, I was more of a symphonic band guy. I like the stage. So I was percussion as well. I did I was the guy who had the triangle and I was all
That's
about
awesome.
the accessories.
You could do the whip during sleigh ride.
I never got that. I know, but I did love the sleigh bells. Those are
nice.
Also, those big chimes. I don't know what they're called, but they're huge. In band, did you have a favorite song at all?
Oh man, I think it's One More Time Chick Corea. We did marching band. I like that. We did Malagueña and marching band. In concert band, I couldn't remember the titles for sure. I know we did some Copeland that I enjoyed, some classical type stuff, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I definitely got a full experience of you know, like I said, instrumental music, choral music. Even in college, getting, you know, there were times where like the director for my professor in college would want to step away in the auditorium and hear what things sounded like, and he'd give me the baton. I was the president of the U choir, and I conduct the symphony and the choir while he went and walked around and listened. And you know, that was a cool experience, and I don't know if you get that everywhere, but I got to do that, and it was very cool.
Yeah, well, now you conduct anywhere between 18,000 and 40,000 people on a regular basis.
Right.
And so a question leading to that is like, how do you choose what songs you're going in at? Do you show up like whatever that ear wig is in the morning where you're like, okay, I want to play this song tonight? Or is it like pretty planned out for you?
Nothing's really planned out. You can't really plan for anything, really.
No.
I mean, like not in a lot of, not in game action. There are things that I go into a game thinking, hey, this makes sense. You know, we're playing Winnipeg, you know, Tuesday night. You know,
play
we're playing
some Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun, or like, you know, Bennington's in that. I like to play Biddy and the Jets.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
So there's things that make sense like that, or there's something like culturally that's happening, and maybe I could tie that in going in, like, you know, recently, and this may not be this audience, but like I have daughters, and you know, they're excited about the new Hannah Montana reunion thing coming out. So I mixed in some like old school Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus into the game, you know, and there were people who were into that.
That's
You
awesome.
know, appreciated it. But you know, a lot of the in-game stuff you can't predict. You don't know what's going to happen, so you got to be ready for anything.
Have you ever like misstepped during like in-game stuff where you're like, oh, missed a note or botched something like middle of a game that, you know,
I think that's part of the art. That's part of the art. True. You know what I mean? That's what makes you, I think, a good musician is whenever you've learned to kind of like make that part of the dance. Really, you know, it's like maybe you make a mistake, but you cover it by your professionalism and the way you're able to rebound from that. And I think that's the same way with playing hockey. You know, maybe you miss an assignment, but then you make up for it. So I think that's part of it.
That's an excellent output or perspective. Like, that's great. Yeah.
I've always loved the CeeLo Green after
Yeah.
goals against that.
I like to inject humor, and especially after you get scored on. Like sometimes you just got to put some humor into it.
Well, I mean, we're all thinking it, so
yeah.
Well, have you ever like intentionally trolled the other team or some specific players on the team where you're
when
like,
haven't I that?
well, I think there's like one video I think you posted like there was some Hollywood girl and her ex-boyfriend was in the crowd and you're like, let me go ahead and play this jam real quick. Something like
one
that.
of the I think Columbus Blue Jackets had dated Tate McRae,
yeah.
They had since broken up or whatever, and somebody had tweeted me about it. I'm like, sure, I'll play Tate McRae all night while he's here. Well, then I got later on. Who was it? The scored the golden goal in the Olympics.
Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes.
No, it was Quinn. Was it?
No,
Quinn
it was
or Jack?
Jack.
Okay, Jack.
Jack
okay,
comes to town with the New Jersey Devils, and he is dating Tate McRae, so I had to play it again for like things like that. After Patrick Kane had his little incident with the cab driver in Buffalo, I played the theme from Taxi during a face-off. I mean, it's just you got to be clever, I think, with stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well, and
love that.
this is great because like you are part of the soundtrack of so many people's memories, right? Like you get to kind of craft how they go home at the end of the night and remember those ideal moments, whether it be, Gloria back in the day or, what you're describing now. And I think that's an incredible thing, but also it's kind of daunting at sometimes, I would imagine, if like the game doesn't go their way but you still like it's kid's first game or whoever, like you're part of that, man. And that's super exciting.
Yeah. It's fun. And it's something that, it's a big honor for me. And I have big shoes to fill too. I mean, the Blues have had a great heritage of organists.
Yeah.
Going back to Norm Kramer, the original blues organist, I mean, he was, Scotty Bowman said that he was worth a half goal a game because of what he brought to the team, at the time,
That's
which
amazing.
is almost all organ music at the time. And then you had Ernie Hayes there for, 18 years or so, or 19 years. And
you're getting close to that now.
And I'm almost, next year will be 20.
Yeah.
And
that's wild.
Yeah, and you think about it, like the Blues have had 55 seasons or something. Maybe it's more than that now. But like I mean, it's crazy to think that. And then a couple of lockout years. But I mean, it's a big part of the history of the team, and it's it's something. It's a big honor to me, and it's a privilege. And I grew up watching this team, and I think about that every time I sit on the bench. Is the people who came before me, and the players alike, but also the organists too.
Well, speaking of your bench, you're in the wide open. Anybody can come up to you at any time. Does that ever like surprise you sometimes? Because I've seen your posts where you're signing stuff and whatnot, but anybody ever distract you by yelling at you or anything like that?
Not really. Everybody's usually pretty respectful, and I encourage people to come up. I mean, I want people to. It's part of the funnest part of what I do is getting to interact with fans. And there's fans all around me. And I love being out in the crowd because I could feel the energy. I could feel what everybody else is feeling, and that helps me channel that into my music. But, I love when, like, the kids come up and they're just, like, big-eyed and they're, like, looking at this thing like, oh, my gosh, this dude plays this thing. And I make sure they get on the organ bench. And I'm like, hey, touch those keys, I mean, that might be the inspiration for them to play one day. I love that kind of thing too. I think the only time I've ever had any like issues actually was the All-Star game. This dude in front of me like was standing up and there's like this like railing in front of me with his arms like this the whole time, just like I'm just like trying to like look around and eventually somebody like
was blocking your view.
Sit down. But, yeah, I mean that's like it. I mean super nothing major at all. I mean everything's been really positive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love the idea of like getting kids in there and like getting them introduced to it, because that's all it takes, man. Like if they just see and touch a guitar or like a saxophone, something like that can be the point. It instills just like so much passion, because like for me personally it was like a drum set. I got to sit on my uncle's throne and like play a couple things, and then from there drums. So do you have any other ways of like getting the youth into playing music, picking up an instrument. Like, I know there's like some charities out there, some organizations and stuff, but like,
I think that's the biggest reason why I share as much as I do on social media, through YouTube, through TikTok, through Instagram, because there's a ton of kids on there, and there's a ton of kids, or even young adults who are like, dude, I had no idea this is a thing, and they love it and they're interested in it. And then I have people who will like see that, and then they'll try to do like what I did with Ernie, where they'll try to emulate it, and they'll send me videos of them playing, like kids, like teenagers who are in high school, who are like, hey, I have a guy. There's a guy who recently followed me who lives in London. He's from the UK, became a big blues fan, and like just the other day, he's actually a classical pianist, but he loves, and he's tied into it because of the musical heritage, what I do at the games. And he sent me a video the other day of like one of the things that I play, and him like trying to learn it. And he's a young man. He's probably early 20s, but I think that's cool, and that's a good way to inspire young people too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, if somebody like even took the time to like learn something that I wrote, like, that's just an honor.
Yeah.
So
cool.
your very first game, or your initial like organ playing, was with the Memphis Redbirds, correct?
Professionally, yeah.
Yeah. So were you traveling to Louisville just to do that, or did you live out there for a bit?
Yeah, I was living in Cape Girardeau. I was still, after I graduated from SEMO, I still lived in Cape for another, 3 or 4 years, I guess. I taught in like Southeast Missouri doing teaching music, but I also was like a church organist in like Perryville, Missouri. So, I was working down there. So I lived down there. And then a classmate of mine, Karen Livingston, who I lived in the dorms with she had a different dorm, obviously, but in the dorm in SEMO, and she had interned in Memphis, and they needed an organist, and she's like, hey, I know a guy, and they called me up, and so I drove from Cape down to Memphis, which is only about 2 hours. It's not terrible. For a home stand, I'd play the home stand, I'd drive back to Cape again until at the end of the first season. The second season, I rented a house down there, and that made more sense. I still lived in Cape, but I'd rent a house to stay in during the summer.
Yeah, I will say it's all about who you know. You have to network with people in order to really get anywhere. Because
but you also got to create your own breaks too. Like, like the thing at SEMO, like I had to do that. I had to go up to the coach, like, hey, were you interested in me doing this? And because I played at SEMO, this lady who I'd gone to school with knew that I played the organ. It's in some ways it's a little bit of both. It's networking, but it's also, you have to kind of put yourself out there. You got to be willing to, like I worked in Memphis for almost nothing. And like, I know I spent more money just driving down there, paying for hotels at first, or renting a house or food that I was making, but it was what I had to do what I wanted to do.
It's that return of investment, right? You're going to go through, do all that, and may not come out with a big paycheck or anything like that, but it's for the passion and padding your resume. And now look at you. Who would have thought that you going up to that director and being like, hey, can I do this? Now here you are. You got a Stanley Cup ring, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I got one too, but it was a gate thing.
Mine looks similar, but it's pretty
cool. A little different.
Well, speaking of like connections and stuff, I do have to ask, who are some, maybe not even just like hockey figures, but like who are just some really cool people that you've met?
Most of them have been like sports people, but like, I met Wayne Gretzky coming in one day, and I was just like,
nice.
It just blew me away. I'm like, oh my God, it's Wayne Gretzky, When I was at Cardinals, I'd see Red Shandies every single night. He was there. He's down in Mike Shannon's booth.
That's awesome.
KMOX. Even like coming into Busch Stadium sometimes when I play there, Jim Edmonds would be there. I was a young man still whenever Edmonds was one of the MV3. And, one night he opened the door for me to the press box. He goes, here you go, Jeremy. I was like, what?
Come on in.
So that's kind of a pinch me moment. But, and Martin Brodeur, who played for the Blues for a second, was still working in the organization. I'd see him, and I'm like, that's like the greatest goalie, maybe arguably of all time.
Yeah,
100%.
I was at Cardinals, and Young Gravy, I don't even know if you guys know who Young Gravy
is.
Musician, would just happen to be in the press box and came and like sat on the organ bench next to me. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between playing for the Cardinals crowd versus the Blues crowd?
I don't know if it's a big difference. You still kind of got to feel the moment, and I think that I have good intuition for that. Again, maybe from playing sports and having been around sports my whole life, I have a kind of a good feel for the game, whether it's hockey or baseball.
The Cardinals last season, they didn't do too stellar. And I'm sure there was a lot of times you were like, dun, 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 type deal. But this season is a little better so far after 30 some games. So
I think that the biggest difference for me from a music standpoint is at hockey, you get a little bit longer time to play between, in a whistle and a break and stop a play. You might have 30 seconds to a minute sometimes, depending on how long it takes the refs to drop the puck again. So you get to play a little bit more of a song maybe, and then into something kind of to pump the crowd up. At baseball, you get to play more often. Like at hockey, you don't get to play that often because there's not that many breaks.
Right.
In baseball, you can play after every single pitch if you really wanted to, but you don't have as much time, and especially now with the pitch clock, it's a little more concise. So it's kind of, I enjoy getting to play more often because, sometimes I'm in hockey games, I'm like, man, I feel like it's been like a half hour since I played last. But then when I do get to play hockey, it's, for a little bit longer time. So it's give and take. I think it's both have their perks.
Speaking of playing for a long time, do you I know a lot of times, if there's like a review or a challenge in a blues game or something, I know sometimes they're going to play like Let It Be and stuff like that. But do you ever have to just fill all of that time?
Yeah. I mean, there's been times for sure. There's a popular podcaster. I think he's in Canada. I think it's the hockey guy maybe had done
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He did I'd played for one of those instances. And he actually commented on it on his podcast about how the Organist played for 75 seconds, which in hockey time is 10 minutes.
Right, you're very
and sometimes
right.
it is during those delays, but yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've had to fill, and you have a director in your ear. And sometimes you're like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" And nobody says anything, and you're just like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna take this and run with it." Yeah.
So I worked at the Enterprise Center for 2 seasons. I was a steward there. But my A building was the Stiefel Theater, and then my B building was the Enterprise Center. So I got to see some of that behind the scene things and get on game level and whatnot. And that was pretty interesting. But man, to see that on a day in, day out basis as you've got to have witnessed some of the amazing things.
It's always, you never know what's going to happen every night you go there. I feel like one of my favorite moments that wasn't a playoff moment, but just a favorite, what just happened kind of moment was, I don't remember what year it was. I think we were playing maybe the Jets, and Barrett Jackman, who's, beloved defenseman, Calder Trophy winner from the Blues, comes out and rifles a puck in, just dumps it in from center ice, and he scores over the shoulder of the goalie. And everybody's just like, what just happened? He scored from center ice.
Bedlam.
Yeah, it is. It's bedlam. And it was just one of those the whole building just lost it. Everybody goes crazy, and it was just you never know what's going to happen. There's been a couple of times that have been a bush, and we've had a one-hitter going to the ninth inning, or a no-hitter going to the ninth inning.
Yeah.
And getting I think the 2 times I played, both were one-hitters, but you just never know, and that's what makes it fun.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I love to hear all of the behind-the-scenes stuff for sure. Were you there for the scoring on Dallas to get into the third round?
Yeah, that was one of those games where I just felt like it was a matter of time. The Blues were so dominant, and they were puck hogs, and Dallas never really had the puck in either overtime. They didn't really have any good chances. Unfortunately, when we did have the puck, we didn't sustain enough chances to really put pressure on them offensively, but we did have to maintain possession of the puck a lot. So it's just a matter of time. I felt like I wasn't super nervous in that game. I felt like we were going to win, and if we lost, it was going to be some super fluke, something. But
right.
Yeah, it was cool. It was awesome to be there. Of course, it was May 7th, right? So yeah, it was very cool.
That building had to have been shaking, right?
Yeah, definitely several moments in that run where you could feel it.
My gosh,
have you been paying attention to the current standings in the playoffs at all?
Yeah. I've been staying up late watching all these games. They're fun.
I know, man.
All 3 of us in, yeah.
Maybe
it's
not
been
LA or
11 o'clock.
I'm
I'm gosh dang, who do you have this season, if you don't mind me asking?
I kind of feel like maybe in the East, I kind of feel like Philadelphia might come
They got a big one tonight. Yeah.
Buffalo is good, too. I like Buffalo as well.
They had the opportunity to close that series out yesterday, but...
Yeah. I would like to see Buffalo win. I feel like... just they've never won before. Be a cool story. Tage Thompson's there, it'd be cool. And I don't think anybody wants Boston to win. So,
no.
And Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, I wouldn't mind seeing. It's not going to hurt my feelings if Philadelphia wins. I don't really care if Pittsburgh wins yet another Stanley Cup. So
right.
In the West, I always have a hard time rooting for anybody in the West. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd root for in the West.
I
Can't root
agree.
for Colorado.
No,
Nope.
you cannot.
Can't root for Vegas. I don't want
Did you
Utah to win
guys?
yet.
Did you guys happen to see? Apparently, the Stan Kroenke and everybody were wearing Colorado Avalanche stuff when the LA Kings were, going up against them, like because he owns the LA Rams. So like
the whole Rams front
conflict of
office was
interest.
wearing Colorado jerseys.
Yeah,
Wow.
In LA.
So you wonder, like, what did LA players like think of that?
Yeah. Well, in game 4 there, it was in crypto.com arena or whatever it's called now. And when Colorado scored, it was super loud. So it had to have been a lot more, I know like LA doesn't have great like local support. I feel like every LA game, no matter where it is like mostly like the other team's fans who live in LA now. But when Colorado scored in LA, it was like, I was like, you almost thought that they were in Colorado, but they weren't.
That's like a Washington Capitals game. Like, there's no real fans at a Capitals game. It's all people and politicians bringing people. They have no really big local base, right? But I do have one question for you. So this is about the Blues as is. Do you see any big moves in this offseason? It would surprise you or not surprise you?
Well, I listen a lot to the Ice Guardians podcast with Brett Hull and Kelly Chase.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched that, that's awesome. Great. So much fun. Yeah. They talked about a big trade one off season, and I can't remember who it was at the time that to bring somebody in. And Kelly Chase mentioned that's the Blues kind of need to make a big splash somewhere, and I could see it happening. And maybe that's I don't know how Alex Steen is going to do as the general manager. Maybe he wants to put his mark on the team and he makes a move. I don't know, but I could see something happen. They have a young core, and I could see them bringing in a veteran guy who could help them out.
What do you think about the Brady Tkachuk rumors? Him possibly becoming a Blue.
I'd love to have either Tkachuk. I'd love to have both Tkachuks. I love those guys, man. Those guys they play hard, and I don't care what anybody says about them. Like, you want that guy on your team. Yeah.
I will say this about Brady. Today, he kind of squashed those rumors. He said, I'm here for the team. I'm here for the city. Stop asking me this.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what I think, too.
He said he wouldn't come to St. Louis because he would have too many people asking him for tickets.
While wearing an OB Clark set.
Right.
Exactly.
That seems like a cop-out,
Right.
I don't think it's realistic, though. I think it's something that, like, Blues fans really want. Like, and like you said, we'll take either one. Like, we would love to have that. You got Jack Finley, like, that would be awesome. But I just don't think like it's going to work out that way. I think both teams have different needs, and I don't think it's going to line up.
I agree. And then I do want to touch on your physical fitness journey. How long have you been going on that for? We can see the results. Even just a few years ago when I was working there, when I seen you in passing and whatnot, I can see who you are now, and it's incredible, man. Tell us more about that.
So it's been a little over 2 years now, I guess, 2.5 years maybe. I just got to a point where I was like, I didn't feel good. I didn't, there was like, it was never anything serious. It was just like, I have a little touch of something here, a little there, and I just never felt great. I'm like, man, and like I said, I was an athlete in school, and it was just time. Like, it was just time. I just ripped the Band-Aid off. A big inspiration for me was I'm a big Chiefs fan as well. And the Chiefs was like, I think that was the year they made that big run against the 49ers, maybe the second time.
Yep.
And everybody kind of counted them out. And like, for whatever reason, that inspired me. Like, I was just like inspired by like, man, if they could do this with like missing, these guys, and they're not, as good as they normally are, and they still overcame all this, and it's just like, man, why can't I do something like that? And I buckled down, and I decided I was going to eat better. I was going to start walking every day. I started off kind of small, just like I bought an Apple Watch. I'm like, I'm going to just close my rings every day, bare minimum. And then I got to like, okay, I'm going to start walking every day. I'm going to walk 2 miles a day. And that's where I lost a lot of the weight, was just walking, honestly. But then I decided, I wanted to start getting a better health. I got a daughter who's I raised, and I want her to eat healthy too. And, it was like, I can cook. I can figure this out, and I started making like nice high protein stuff, making healthier foods, making healthier choices, drinking water instead of soda, or even if it's like, I do like the flavor packets, so I can't just do water all the time, but, being more conscious about what I'm eating and drinking, and, and it paid off, and I just, worked hard on it, and I was just consistent. I didn't do anything major. I just every day, one day at a time.
Consistency is key, man. And once that snowball starts rolling, it just grows. So that's awesome to hear, honestly.
You were saying making smarter decisions with drinking and stuff. So like I drink these sodas nonstop because I feel like I need a jump, and I don't do energy drinks because like I feel like my heart's gonna explode. So like, how do you? Because you said you can't do water all the time. Neither can I. I feel like I have no caffeine. I have no jump. I have no energy. What do you use? What are you putting in there to make it decent?
I'll do an energy drink in the morning for sure, but it's like the white Monsters, it's like 10 calories. And then I'll do like the water with it's like a raspberry lemonade, like just a packet you mix in it and whatever. Those are good. Gatorade Zero, it's a little bit of flavor, but it's 0 calorie. It's hydrating. It's electrolytes is good for you as well. Those things are good. I make protein shakes a lot. I switched to almond milk, which is like 30 calories cup, I believe, and that's another good option, just with something or whatever. And even like I didn't give up alcohol. I still drink beer. I like to go out and have a beer, but I do like Bud Select, which is 99 calories instead of like Bud Heavy, which is like 280. So just
root for the Lou, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you still got to live life a little bit, but be smarter about it. Pick your spots, and I'll still do I like Pip Zero. I'll do a Pip Zero every once in a while, which is 0 calorie, and it may not be the healthiest thing, but it's better than like Dr. Pepper Heavy or whatever, and doing 12 of those a day. So you just pick, being more healthy and being more conscious of that.
Yeah, I could definitely use some of that.
It was really nice to meet you, man. I go to lots of blues games. We just show
Lucky.
up. Yeah. So next time I see you in passing, I will definitely say hi. For sure.
That would be awesome. We really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for even giving us the time, man. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Let's go Blues.
Yep, let's go Blues. Dogtown Pizza. If you haven't had a Dogtown Pizza, you are absolutely missing out. There is nothing better than coming home from work or school or wherever you're stuck at for the day, throwing a Dogtown Pizza into the oven for pretty much no time at all, and enjoying that St. Louis-style greatness. With selections like a classic pepperoni, the 4 meat, the deluxe, and the veggie, there's a perfect pizza for everyone. The best part is knowing you're supporting a local St. Louis business and family. Dogtown Pizza has partnered with our beloved Blues, but also with other prominent St. Louis figures like Steve's Hot Dogs. And it's run by the Shaper family, St. Louisans through and through with a decade in the business. My family and I had 2 of these bad boys today in preparation for this, and they turned out incredible. Just look at that cheese. Bottom line, if you're looking for a pizza you'll love, from a local company you can trust, run by a family you can relate to, go to dogtownpizza.com, find a store near you, and go get one. Thanks again to Dogtown Pizza for sponsoring this podcast. Let's go get a pizza, and let's go Blues. The STL Hockey Fan Podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to give you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.